In today's video, I'll be going over a few things that I've gone over in other videos, but at the end, we'll have a completely different result. So if you're new to Grasshopper, this is going to be perfect for you. So I'll go through some of these steps fairly quickly, and the reason why is because I've gone through a lot of these steps over and over again in a lot of different tutorials, but I want to show a bit of a variation on this idea. So let's start by creating a rectangle. This rectangle, we'll give it a size. We'll just say 10. And here, we're going to, actually let's increase that number. And we'll extract the corner points and the center point. So discontinue, discontinuity, there we go. And area to get the points. Now I'll be creating two sets of spheres. I'll go to sphere, one for the centroid, and one for the points. Now I plugged into the radius rather than the base point. Now let's go here. Two different sizes. We can make one smaller than the other one. Now we can do union, the solid union, and flatten the input. Now we can take this and copy it up. So move, Z. Now we'll go to series, step, we'll change that, and we can also change the count. Now we'll take these and we'll rotate each one a certain amount. So we'll go to an area component, so we can bring in the center point of each one of those, and they rotate around this plane. The angle is going to be a series of angles, and this angle is going to be degrees. We're going to have 22 count, and step, start with a low number, so we'll just say 15. The geometry is this one. Now we can take this and disable the preview. And when we do a big rotation, it's kind of hard to see the subtleness of it, and of course, we come back here and let's change the size of this. Now this one, solid union. It does take a while to put them all together, but let's increase this one. All right, and change this to 10. Cool, so we created kind of like this cool column. Now let's take this column and rotate it, so twist it first. But what I want to do is take the initial point, which is down here, and move it either the X or Y direction. So move this centroid in the X direction, say 50, because this is actually going to be the radius of our container. So we're moving this a unit of 50 this way, which means that this is a little bit too large. So I want to, this is where it gets a little bit tricky because I'm decreasing the size of this rectangle. So if I actually went to like 5, now we're going to have to decrease all of these a lot more. So let's go to 5 and then 5 here. And also the step in the vertical direction. So we'll leave them all at 5. Okay. Now that we have that, we have the center point, which is going to be this one. But what I want to do is first type in twist. Twist is going to need an axis, so we need to move this one up. So move this geometry, which is the point, in the Z direction. Automatically, we're going to get 1. So we'll create a line starting at this point, ending at this point, and being the axis of the twist for our geometry. Now the angle is going to be important. We'll go to degrees. And now we'll disable the preview on this and change the angle to something like 50. That's going to twist this. Oh, here's what's happening. It's only twisting this little bit. So it actually has to be the entire height of this, which means that if I just take these centroids rather than doing this, we can actually achieve that. So let me show you what I mean. This center point is going to be, we need to move, instead of this centroid, all of these centroids. Then with this, we create a polyline through all of those vertices, and that becomes our axis of rotation. So now this makes more sense. Okay, just working through some of those things, and then we can rotate this further. So what we're doing is creating one section. Why? Because now we're going to take this and just get the bottom point. So I'll go here to item, list item, get the geometry, and it'll extract the first point on that list. This one becomes the one that we use a rotation. We'll plug in our geometry. Our item, this is going to be our plane of rotation from the center point. And we're going to create a series of rotations. We can go 30 copies, stepping 15. Actually, it would be the same amount as this one. Nope. So the angle is going to be the number of copies here. So we have, okay, for this part, we do 360 degrees divided by the angle. So if it's 32, we'll just the number of copies, so we'll go to 20, and that is going to be our step, and this is going to be our count. So this rotation is independent of all of the other steps. And now we can use this as our series angles. So let's go here to our degrees, change that. We'll update this series of rotations, and it's going to take a little bit because it does have to make 20 copies. So let's see what it looks like here. Alright, so that definitely took a little bit, but as you can see, it copies those all the way around. And so this can create a cool form for a 3D print. So if we took this, and actually 20 is not enough, so we have to do maybe 25. Gonna take a little bit again. Then what we'll do is we'll bake it, and once we bake it, you'll see that it's gonna look pretty clean. So a few seconds here. Now I'll create a new layer and call this form, and go to our rotations, middle click and bake. And you'll see that we do have a redundant, a copied one, and that's from this component. So I'll just disable preview on all of them. Please disable preview. And now I'll go back to don't draw any preview geometry. We'll go to shaded mode. Here's the thing, we don't necessarily have to do Boolean union before we do the rotations and all that stuff, but it just makes it a lot easier to rotate things around. But that's not the point, right? So it does create this really cool kind of organic form. And if we go to V-Ray Interactive, let's apply a V-Ray material to this. So I'll go to PBR material, I'll call this form 1, and let's see what it looks like when we apply like a generic material to our form. I may have done it in a different layer, so I'll have to select this. I think I had the default layer selected when I did the bake, so I'll just change object layer to this one. And as you can see, looks pretty cool. So let's go back to V-Ray and change this to, I think it's, okay. Let's change it to gold or something like this. I think it always makes it look a little bit better. And then metalness to the top, and then roughness somewhere in the middle there. We can also bring in a completely different background, or we can change some of these things here. Just playing around with some of these settings. So if you have any questions, let me know. It's a cool exercise. It gives you an idea as to how to combine a bunch of different components, and at the end getting an interesting form. This would be actually something really interesting to 3D print. So if you do 3D print it, let me know. And I will have this script in the YouTube section of my website. I also have a script store if you want to look for like optimized scripts. If you have any other questions, ideas, or if you enjoy this content, make sure to let me know in the comments. Lastly, consider subscribing. I post videos like this about parametric design and architecture. So thank you very much for being here, and I hope to see you next time.